Good morning to all the students. So yesterday we started our discussion on the operator overloading, and we have seen few examples of how to overload the binary operator, that is plus we have seen. In a similar fashion, you can also write your own code for overloading the other binary operators also. Right? And we have already seen the overloading of the relational operator also. Later we have a very good discussion on the friend function. May I know what a friend function is? Anybody?
It is not the member function of the class, sir.
Okay, super.
Is used to access private members of a class, sir.
And
Yeah.
protected members also, sir.
Okay, super. And how do you declare the friend function? What keyword is used?
Friend keyword,
sir.
sir. And
Friend
it
keyword, sir.
it's defined only outside the class, sir.
So that is also important, right? Friend functions cannot be defined inside the class. They can only be defined outside the class. May I know the reason why?
They are not the member functions of the class, sir. So they are not
the member
defined.
function. Right. Very good. So in today's class, we will continue with the same concept of operator overloading only, but we'll see how to overload a unary operator, and we'll see how to overload the assignment operator, and then we will see the rules for operator overloading. Already we have gone through these rules for operator overloading in the earlier sessions also, but we'll just sum up those things and we'll just close the concept of this operator overload. So let us jump into our topic of discussion, that is overloading the unary operator. So what is an unary operator? It is an operator that operates on only one operand. So we have very few unary operators such as increment, decrement, and we have this ampersand operator. Right. And similarly, minus and plus. Even though they can be treated as the binary operators, they can also be operated as the unary operators. Right. So, but most frequently, when we want to discuss anything about the unary operators, we'll be dealing with this plus plus and minus minus, which is nothing but the increment and decrement. You know all these things, right?
Yes,
Again,
sir.
increment and decrement is again divided into two types. One is the pre-increment and the second one is the post-increment. Similarly, the decrement can also be treated as pre-decrement and post-decrement. All these things we know. But in this example, we'll see an example and we'll check how we can make these increment and decrement operators work with the user defined data. That is what overloading is, right? So we go through an example, very simple example. So what is this one? Again, I'm going to from the first line inwards. What is that one? First statement.
Header file, sir. Preprocessor.
I was right, and this is the namespace we are defining, and I'm defining the class count here, and there is only one private data member, that is value, and I have defined the under public section. What is this? This is another syntax we have for this constructor, right? See here.
Yes, sir.
So the name of the function itself is count, and after this I am using a colon, and after this I'm taking the value. What is this value?
Class name, sir.
No.
Data member, sir.
Data member, sir.
Class name is count, right? So value is the private data member, and after that I am putting the value 5 within the parenthesis. Right? So I'm not defining any constructor. This is another way of initializing the count or the value, the private data member of the count to 5. Right? So if you are not comfortable with this particular type of initialization, you can simply go with the concept like this: count of, and then you take the value and you assign it to 5. Now tell me, is it a default constructor or parameterized constructor?
Default constructor, sir.
Super, right? Default constructor. By default, we are accustomed to assign or initialize any data member with zeros. But this time I'm not interested to assign the private data member with 0. I want to assign it to 5. Right? So this is also perfectly valid. Nobody restricts you to initialize the private data members only with 0 value. Right? You can initialize it with any value that the user wants to initialize. Right? So this is another important point you should remember. So this is again a default constructor, and there is another syntax. This is the syntax to initialize the private data members using the constructor with some predefined values. So we are not bothered about it. We can write this code also. Nobody asks. Right? And listen, what is this one?
Operator overloading function.
Right. It is an operator function. Simply we can call it as operator function. Instead of using the operator overloading function, we can simply call it as operator function. Right. So what is the return type of the function?
Void.
Void. And operator plus plus means operator is the keyword, and plus plus represents the symbol which I am going to overload it. Right here I am going to use the increment operator. So if you go to the definition of the particular operator, is operator function a member function or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
There is no doubt. Only the friend function is not the member function. Operator function is a member function. Therefore, you can write the code or you can define the operator function inside the class also. This is an example where I am defining the operator function inside the class. So what is that code I have written here? Plus plus value. Is it a pre-increment?
Yes, sir.
Pre-increment, sir.
Pre-increment, right? So if I want to write the code for the post increment, you simply make it as value plus plus. That's it. Nothing more than that. So if somebody asks you to write a code to overload the pre-increment operator, you write this particular statement, and if you are asked to write a code for the overloading of post-increment operator, you write this statement. Nothing, very simple thing, right? Now I am defining another member function called display. Display is the name of the function, void is the return type, and it does not accept any parameters, and I am just printing the value. So this is the end of the class. Coming to the main, what is this statement?
Creating an object, sir.
We are creating an object, right? So while creating the object, what does the compiler do? It will create the object. That means it will allocate the memory for the object, and similarly, what are the contents that are present for this object? What are there?
Value, sir.
Okay, value is a data member, and after that, does it have any functions or not?
Yes, sir. Operator
Yes,
function and display function.
functions will also be given to this object, right? So operator function will be there, and similarly this, and will do when we create an object.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Now is it clear?
Okay, sir.
So now, as you can see, when you create an object, it will allocate the memory for the data members as well as the functions. So you can remember a point that the objects that are created by using the class will have the private data members of its own and the member functions of its own. And the second point you have to remember is when you create an object, by default, the compiler will make the constructor to invoked, right? So the default constructor, this one will be invoked. So what will be the value of this count one? What is the value that I have initialized?
5, sir.
5. So
Void.
the value, again my voice is breaking or what?
No, sir. No, sir.
So the value that belongs, the value which is nothing but the private data member of this object count one is having a value of 5. Now this time what I am doing, what is this statement called? Can anybody tell me? This statement
Calling
with
the operator
respect to this
function.
class. Super, right. So this is called the function call. This is called the function call, which otherwise we can call it as operator function call. Is it clear? So when I write a statement like this, plus count one, that means I am operating this plus on this object count one. Therefore, this is nothing but the operator overload. So this function, that operator function, will be invoked and it will make the value of count one. So this value represents value of count one object. So the value of count one will be incremented. So what will be the value? So the value will be changed to 6. And then I am calling the function display that belongs to count one. So it will simply print count is equal to the value. Nothing but the result will be count is how the output will be given. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now I just want to know one thing. Please tell me. Right. My question is, here I have given it as plus value. Can I write like this? Value is equal to value plus 10. Will it work or does it give any error? Did you understand my question? Instead of increment means I'm just going to increment the value or increase the value by 1 only. But I have overloaded this function, the plus function, and I am saying that I will write like this. Value is equal to value plus 10. Will it work or doesn't work?
It will give an error, sir, because plus is not defined.
Shall we check this program online?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, we'll check while we leave the class. Let us complete the remaining portion also. We'll check for this unary operator. According to me, I think it will work, right? Right. You are overloading this plus operator, and when you call this plus operator, it is going to execute this function. It never bothers about what code you have written, what logic you have implemented in this plus. The only thing the compiler know is plus count one. That means it is going to call this operator function and it is going to execute the statements that are present inside this function. So it will execute whatever is present inside it. This is my analysis. Right? I don't know, but we will check at the end of this course. Right? At the end of this class. Right? Is it clear up
Okay,
to this
sir.
point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So as I told that when you want to overload the unary operator using the postfix expression or postfix operator. So instead of plus value, you just give it as value plus. That's it. Nothing more. This is another overloading of unary operator with return value. Return value is nothing but you take a temporary object and then you return that object like this. Right? So if you can see this code, this everything is similar. We have a private data member value and we have a constructor like this and we have an operator function. Right? Let us check this code. So count is the class name. That means what is this count? What do we call with respect to this function?
Return type, sir.
Return type. Super. Right. So operator is the keyword and plus. I am going to overload the plus operator. In this code, see here, as I told that whenever we call this plus, it is going to execute what is there inside this operator function. That is what the compiler knows, right? So previously what I did is I have simply made it as plus value. Okay, it is going to execute it in a perfect manner. Now I am creating a temporary object of count. Therefore, one object will be created, and as I have discussed that this temp object will have a value, and similarly it will have the functions also, right? So what happened here is I am just making the temp value. That means I am taking the value of temp is equal to plus value. Plus value means I'm just incrementing the value parameter. So whatever is there, 5 is there. So 6 will be evaluated. This becomes 6, and it is stored inside this temp dot value. Now I'm returning this temporary object. That is the reason why I have given the return type of this operator function as count, which is nothing but the name of the class. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, what is this one? This is another operator function. That is the operator function which I am overloading with one parameter. So this time it is not going to take the default value. It is not going to take the 5. Right. So when you create an object with a parameter, then it is going to take that value and it is going to increment that value and it is going to store inside this temp dot value, right? But this time it is going to make it a post increment operator. It is going to use the post increment. What do you mean by post increment?
Assign value and then increment, sir.
First, the value will be assigned to this temp value and then the value will be incremented. So whatever value that is given by the user, it is, don't know why he has given, right, whatever. So this is a display function where it is displaying, and see here, I am creating two objects, count1 and result. So count1 will have its own value data member. Similarly, the result will have its own data. And I'm going to call this function, operator function plus. So result is equal to plus count1. Here you are going to call the operator function. So whatever is there, it will just value is having the value of 5. That means value data member is having a value of 5, and it is incremented, pre-incremented, and it is stored inside this temp value. Therefore, it becomes 6, and it is returning the temp where I am storing it inside the result. What is result here? What is this temp? It is an object of type count, right? So when I throw an object of type count, there should be a object of type same class, so that it can catch hold of this temp. Therefore, since I am throwing a object of count, it has to be caught inside the same object of the same class. So result is another object of same class count. Therefore, this is perfectly valid. And I'm just going to display that result dot display. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So I then again I'm using the same result object. Now what I'm doing, I'm calling the count1 plus. This is a post increment. Right. So result dot display, again this function will be invoked when I call this count dot plus. So whatever object you are throwing, the result will be stored inside this result object, and I am just displaying. Is it clear? I think there is
Yes,
no
sir.
need this integer. There's no need for it. So this particular example is used to illustrate how we can throw the objects from one function to the main, right? So this is an example, a perfect example of how you can throw an object. Throw means return an object. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now the last one, overloading the assignment operator. The assignment operator symbol, as we know that it is equal to symbol, right? And in general, why do we use this assignment operator? What is the need of the assignment operator?
Assign a value to the variable.
So in order to assign a value to a variable, or you can do it like this one. So the value that is present inside B will be stored inside A. So this is right to left association is equal to is a right to left association. The assignment operator is equal to is used to copy the values from one object to another already existing object. This is very important. So have you ever heard of any concept where you can copy the values of one object into another object?
Yes, sir.
Previously we
In a
have
copy construct.
super, right? So in the copy constructor concept, copy constructor is a concept supported by the C++ or object-oriented programming, where it is used, the copy constructor is used to copy the values of one object to another object. Is it clear? In the similar fashion,
Yes, sir.
we have an operator called assignment operator, where we can copy the values of one object to another object. But what is the difference, sir? I told you to browse the internet so that you get some idea on this copy constructor versus assignment operator. Have you done that one? Actually, I forgot to give this type of question in the assignment. This is very important question. So can anybody tell me what is the difference between the copy constructor and the assignment operator? Have you gone through the internet to search for this particular topic? Say yes or no, nothing wrong.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So you can, now I tell you one important point regarding this copy constructor and assignment. The purpose of both the copy constructor and the assignment is same. That means you are going to copy the values of one object to another object. Right? Copy constructor is used to copy values of one object to another object. Similarly, the assignment operator is used to copy the values of one object to another object. But the difference is the copy constructor is used to copy the values of one object to a new object. Right. That means you will be creating a copy constructor. That means you use this. What is the syntax for that one? You use the class name and you use the object name, right? And then you use assignment operator and then you use world, something like that, right? So this is how you are going to use the copy constructor, right? So you are going to copy the values of one object to a newly created object. Here you are going to create the object at that instance only. But this assignment operator is used to copy the values of one object. You can simply write like this. Object 1 is equal to object 2. Right. So here you have used the assignment operator where you are going to copy the values of object 2 into object 1. Where object 1 is already created somewhere else. But at this point in the copy constructor, you are going to create a new object and you are going to initialize or you are going to copy the values of an old object to the newly created object. Here you are going to copy the values of the object to an old object. That is the difference, main difference. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Right. So we'll see how we can overload this assignment operator. So nothing you can nothing to worry about the programming. The simple thing is you have to understand the concept and you try to illustrate with different examples. Right. For example, in this example, what I have taken is I have taken the distance where I can measure the distance with feet and inches. Okay. And if the that means if I have the, if I take distance like this. So let us take the distance one as 11 comma 10 in this example. What does this 11 comma 10 means? This is 11 feet and 10 inches. Nothing more than. Right. So what is this 5 and 11? So it represents 5 feet and 11 inches. And I am just overloading the assignment operator to check whether the feet of D1 is equal to the feet of D2. Similarly, the inches of D1 is equal to the inches of D2. Very simple program. So this is the gist of this particular program. So for this, I am creating a class called distance. How many members are there for this one? For this class distance?
Two data members.
No, sir.
Two private data members. One is called as the feet and second one is called as the inches. So in the public section, I am defining a constructor. This is the default constructor. You know very well, right? So in the default constructor, I am initializing the feet to 0 and inches to 0. And what is this one? This is a parameterizer constructor. What is that I am doing here in the parameterizer constructor? Can anybody tell me?
Assigning values to the data members.
We are assigning the values to the data members. Where from we are getting these values? From F and I. Where from we are getting the values into this F and I? At the time of initializing the, at the time of creating the object, I am calling a parameterizer constructor using the implicit calling method. Right? Is this the implicit method or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, and this is where we need to concentrate. I'm just going to copy this, overload this assignment operator. The return type is void, and I'm using the operator keyword and is equal to, and how many, is it a binary operator or unary operator? Is equal to.
Binary, sir.
Binary, sir.
Right. So since you are defining or you are overloading the binary operator is equal to as the member function, even though it is a binary operator, I need to pass how many parameters? I need to pass how many objects as the parameters?
No, sir.
In general, binary operator operates on 2 operands. This is very important point, please concentrate. In general, the binary is equal to is a binary operator, therefore it is going to operate on 2 operands. But since the operator overloading function or the operator function for is equal to is defined as the member function of the class, we need to pass only one parameter. What is this parameter? Is this the left operand or right operand?
Right operand, sir.
Super, right. So we have to pass only the right operand. This point is very, very important. I have been telling you repeatedly, but you are not concentrating. Please concentrate. Right. So in case of binary operator overloading, and if you are defining the binary operator as the member function of the class, you need to pass only the right operand as the parameter to the function. Nothing to do with the left operand, right? Why? Because the left operand is automatically taken care by the compiler. So what does this D represent? Does it represent the right operand or left operand?
Right operand, sir.
Right operand.
Right operand.
So and what is this const keyword? What is this const keyword? Const means what? What for we make use of this const keyword?
Constant numbers.
To declare it as a constant. That means in order to avoid the accidental changes of values, we just make it as a constant. So whenever you try to change the values of the constant, then it will throw an error. Thereby you will come to know that in some statement, the program is trying to change the values. If you are not interested to change the values inside the program of that object, you just make it as a constant. That is the reason why we give it as constant, and it is not mandated. So if you don't give constant, you in the program or in the code, you can make modifications to the values of this D. Right? What is this D? Is it a right or left? Right operand, right?
Right operand, sir.
So you never make any changes to the feet and inches of this D. Similarly, you never make changes for this right operand. Parameters of the right operand, not parameters, data members of the right operand. So here in the code, in the function definition, I'm just making use of this statement. Feet is equal to D dot feet. What does this feet represent? And what does this feet represent? What is this D dot feet? Is it the right operand's feet or the left operand's feet?
Right operand's feet,
Right
sir.
operands.
Then why you are have doubts? So this D dot feet means this is nothing but the feet data member of D. What is D here? I know that D is a parameter that is passed as an argument. So this D, I know that it is the right operand. So this right hand side part, D dot feet, is the feet that belongs to right operand. What does this feet represent? It is on the LHS. Is it the feet of left operand, or you have any doubt?
Left operand,
Left
sir.
operand, sir.
Right. So this is the feet of left operand. The feet of left operand. Why? Because I told you that the left operand is automatically taken by the compiler. So this feet, when you represent feet, that means it is going to represent the feet of left operand. We'll come back again here. And what is this statement? Inches is equal to D dot inches. That means D dot inches represents
Right operand, sir.
inches of right operand. Right. What does
Yes,
this inches represent?
Left operand, sir.
Inches of left operand.
Of left
Right.
Okay, sir.
So this is right operand and this is left. So I'm going to check whether the feet of left operand is equal to feet of right operand or not. Similarly, I'm going to check whether the feet of right operand. No. It's not going to check. What I'm doing here, I am just copying the value of the right operand to the left operand feet. Similarly, the right operand inches is copied into the left operand inches. Why? Because this is an assignment operator. You are going to assign the value of the right hand side operand to the left hand side operand. Right. So the right hand side feet, right hand operand feet is copied into the left hand operand feet. And the right hand operand inches is copied into the left hand operand inches. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I'm defining one more function which is called as display distance, where I am just making use of cout function, and feet I am printing as the output and inches I am printing as the output. So now coming back to the main function, what is this statement? What is this statement?
Calling parameterized
Calling
constructors.
parameter.
Right. Calling parameterizer constructor. Before that, you have to say that you are going to create an object D1 and D2, and you are going to call the copy parameterizer function. So D1 will have the parameters f and I. Similarly, it have the functions like operator function is equal to will be there, constructors will be there, and also it will have the display function. In the similar manner, D2 will also have this f and I data members, and it also has the member functions as the operator function, the display distance function, everything will be there. So cout first distance. So I will get the output as first distance. And now what is this function? What is this statement called?
Calling member function, sir.
Calling member function. What member function you are calling? Display distance. And
Display
display
distance.
distance of which member function? Display distance is a member function, right? You are calling this member function of which object?
D1,
Of
sir.
D1 object. Right. As you can see here that D1 is having its own display distance object. So what it will print? It will execute this function definition. So it will print it as f. What is the value of f for D1?
11, sir.
Super, 11. And what about inches?
10, sir.
Similarly, cout second distance, it will print the second distance. And what is the f? I am calling the display distance of D2. Therefore,
5, sir.
5 and I is
11.
11. Right. Now, what is this statement?
Calling operator function, sir.
Assignment
So it is a
operator.
function call. It is a operator function call where you are calling this particular overloaded function. In this, what you are doing? I am using this left operand. What is the left operand of this statement?
D1, sir.
D1. What is the right operand? D2.
D2, sir.
D2.
But what is that we are passing here in the function? We are passing only the right operand. That means
Right
this
operator.
particular D is equal to D2. Right. So it will go and execute this one. So feet means, what does it mean? This indirectly means that you are going to call the feet of the left operand. Therefore, this can be written like this: D1 dot feet. But it is internally taken by the compiler. No need to pass it. So D1 dot feet is equal to, here D means it is nothing but D2. D2 dot feet. So whatever feet is there for D2, it is copied into D1 feet. So what happens here? What happens to the feet of D1?
5, sir.
It becomes 5. Super. Now again in the second statement, inches. Inches is nothing but you can take it as D1 dot inches. That is the left operand inches. And is equal to D dot inches, which is nothing but D2 dot inches. So the inches of D2 is copied into the inches of D1. So what happens to the inches of D1 here? What is the value here?
11, sir. 11.
11, sir.
Now I again call the first distance. So first distance will be there. I again call this display distance of D1. Now what happens to feet? What is the value it is stored? 5. And what happens to inches?
11, sir. 11.
This is how we are going to overload the assignment operator. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
And the last slide of the operator overloading, we know all these rules. This is the slide which explains you what are the various rules we have for the operator overload. So rules is, the first rule is you can overload only the built-in operators. Right? Whatever operator that is supported by the programming language, those operators only can be overloaded. You cannot bring a new symbol and you try to overload it, it will give an error. Right? So whatever built-in operators are there, they only can be overloaded. If some operators are not present in C++, you cannot overload. We know this very well. Right? And the precedence of the operator remains the same. This is what we have known. And the associativity, you can write another point also. The associativity of the operators also remains the same. Yes. And the arity of the operators cannot be changed. What do you mean by arity?
Unary or binary operator, sir.
It represents how many operands it is going to take per operation. Right? So the unary operator remains the unary operator, the binary operator remains the binary operator. And the ternary operator remains the ternary. Can we say that one?
Yes, sir.
We cannot say it. Why? Because we have only one ternary operator, that is this one, question mark followed by colon. And one important point you should remember is that ternary operator cannot be overloaded. Right? The ternary operator cannot be overloaded. So when you explain this particular term, you should explain it in terms of unary and binary only. No need to go for the ternary. Okay. And the next point is we cannot overload operators for the built-in data types. Right. Already we have the operators for the built-in data types. So there is nothing to do with the overloading concept with respect to the built-in data types. Remember that overloading is especially designed for dealing with the user-defined data types. That's the simple point we have to remember. What is that? Operator overloading is only designed for the user-defined
User-defined data.
right. At least one user-defined data type should be there. You cannot take all the built-in data types and you cannot write a special code to change the meaning of the operator on the built-in data types. So built-in data types, we cannot overload for built-in data types. At least one user-defined data type must be there. The next important point, the assignment operator, the subscript. Subscript is nothing but array subscript, which is a square bracket, right? And the function call, which is nothing but the parenthesis. And the arrow operator, which is nothing but the member access operator using pointers. These operators, listen carefully, very important. These operators must be defined as member functions, not as the friend function. So what are the various ways where you can define an operator function?
Inside and out.
No, that's not the. Define the member function means you can define inside the class or outside the class. That is the question, right? And I'm asking you, please listen to the question here. I'm asking you, what are the various ways of defining the operator function? One is super. Okay. You can define it as the member function, or you can define it as the non-member function, or you can define it as the friend function. These are the three ways. We know this. Okay. And when you overload this assignment, subscript, and function call and arrow, and this is not possible.
Yes, the arrow is not possible.
Yeah, you can remove it, right? So whenever you want to overload this is equal to subscript and function call, you have to make it with the member functions only. You cannot make use of the friend. That is one important simple point you have to remember. And last point, some operators like assignment, address, and comma operator, these are already by default overloaded, right? By default overloaded means they are already overloaded, but if you want to change the meaning of the is equal to, then you can. And if you want to make any modifications, or if you want to give a special definition for this assignment operator to work with other user defined data types, you can define, right? But you can simply say that if somebody asks you what are the operators that have the default overloading concept, you can give it as is equal to address operator and comma operator. I think this is our part. Okay. In C, we will use of this as what is this symbol called?
Shift operator, sir.
Left shift operator. Since it is the arrow is towards its left hand side, it is left shift operator. But here we are making use of this symbol in case of C out. That is standard output function. Okay. So these are the important points or the rules you should remember for this operator overloading. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear with the rules for operator overloading?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, that's the end of the operator overloading concept. We have completed 2.5 units. Complete 2.5 units we have done. We are done. And in next class, that is in the next week, we are going to start a very lengthy and somewhat complex topic, which is nothing but the inheritance. Okay. Inheritance takes a lot of time. We need to explain a lot of concepts. Right. So we are
Okay,
left
sir.
with one practice example. Take an online control. We'll check whether that unary operator can be modified with our own code or not. What is that we want to do here? So I just want to check whether this value can be incremented to any other value or not instead of plus plus. Am I getting the 15?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you see the screen? This online
Yes,
compare.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So when you create this object, you are calling a default constructor where you are initializing the value, the data member, private data member value with 5. This is the default constructor. Now in the increment operator, what I am doing is, in general, increment means it is not the syntax, it is the semantic. Increment means you increase the value by 1. But this time I am not making use of this plus plus to reflect the increase of the value by 1. I can write my own code here. So what I did is I made this value to be incremented by 10. So when I call, what is this plus plus count 1 represent? Is a function call, right?
Operator function.
Operator function call. So when I execute this statement, the definition of this function will be executed. So it will match this plus plus with this plus. Therefore, the operator function will be invoked, and then the body of this function will be executed. So it won't bother about what is there inside it. So it will be just executing it. So whatever value I have, that is 5, I am adding it to 10. So 10 plus 5 is 15. Again, I am storing it into 5. So when I display it, I get the value as 15. When I change this to 100, what is the result you get? What is the result you will get?
105, sir.
105. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now
Yes,
the
sir.
last example which I am going to prove or try is, this is the program we have written earlier, right? Complex number addition program.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I just want to write the operator function. That means I want to overload the minus. I want to overload the minus. So what is the syntax I have to use? The same syntax you have to use, that is for complex operator, and this time I want to overload it with using friend function, right? So complex operator minus, and let us leave like this. Now tell me what are the modifications that I should do here. If I want to make this function as the friend function, what is that I have to use?
Friend keyword, sir.
So friend keyword should be preceded. Super, right? And what is that I have to do here? You have to check what is this operator you are going to overload. It is minus, right? Is minus a binary or unary operator?
Binary, sir.
Both, sir.
Both, sir.
Yeah, both, but let us take it as a binary operator.
Binary.
So if it is binary, and if I am making the overloading function of a binary operator using friend function, so how many parameters it should have?
2, sir.
One parameter.
Two, Amma, two.
2, sir.
Right. If it is a member function like this, so you can see here operator plus. I am making this. I'm implementing this operator function plus using the member function. So if it is a member function, even though you are overloading a binary operator, you have to pass only the right operand. But if you are overloading a binary operator as the friend function using friend function concept, you have to pass both the objects or both the operands. Right. So in case of this plus,
Yes,
what
sir.
is this complex? It is a right operand. But in case of minus, since I'm going to implement it using the friend function, so how many parameters it should accept?
2, sir.
Two parameters.
Two, both the left parameter and the right parameter,
Right parameter.
or right operand, sorry, left operand and right operand, right? But remember that the friend functions always makes use of the reference concept. So you have to give the ampersand. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, how can I define the friend function inside this class?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, right. So I should declare outside the class. So while defining the friend function outside the class, do I need to tell the compiler whether this particular friend function or the operator function belongs to the class or not?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
Compiler
No,
will
yeah.
take itself.
No, the compiler will not take it, but since the friend function is not the member
Referencing
function of the class,
parameters.
since the friend function is not the member function of the class, you cannot say the compiler that this friend function belongs to this class. Therefore, you may not use this class followed by scope resolution operator. So coming to the definition, see here, this is how I have defined it. Right. What is this complex?
Return type. Sir.
Return type, which is nothing but it is going to return an object of type complex. We know this operator is a keyword and
Keyword,
minus is something, right? And see here, I am going to take two parameters here, two references of the object. C1 is the left operand and C2 is the right operand, right? So I'm taking a temporary object of type complex, and temp dot r is equal to, what is this C1 dot r? R is real part,
Real
right?
part, sir. Yes, sir.
Real part of which object? Which operand?
C1.
C1.
Left
C1 is treated as left operand or right operand?
left operand, sir.
Left operand. So right. So C1 dot R is nothing but the real part of the left operand. What is this C2 dot R?
Right operand, real
Right.
part, sir.
Right. So if you can observe the difference between this plus and minus, here I have taken this as temp dot R is equal to R plus C2 dot R, where R is automatically taken by the compiler as the left operand's real part, and C2 means it represents the right operand's real part. Right. So this is the only difference you should understand, and never ever write this complex scope resolution operator or this friend function. Why? Because friend functions are not the member functions of the class. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now, very simple thing. I'm taking three objects C1, 2, 3, C2, 3, 4, C3, 4, 5. C4 is equal to C1 plus C2. C5 is equal to C3 minus C2. So what is this C3 minus C2 means? It is going to call the operator function. But I have defined this minus by overloaded this binary using the friend. Therefore, this function will be executed. Is it clear? So this C3
Yes,
is
sir.
the left operand and C2 is the right operand. So when you copy or when you call this function, this C3 will be copied into C1 and C2 will be copied into C2. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So you
Yes,
should be
sir.
very careful in writing the program. Friend function means whenever you are overloading a binary operator using friend functions, you have to take the two parameters That is nothing but the left operand and right operand should be there. But when you overload a binary operator using member function, you can skip the left operand. Therefore, you can pass only the right operand. This point is very, very, very important. That is the reason why I'm repeating it again and again. If it is clear, we can stop it.
Clear, sir.
So this is the end of today's session, and this is the end of operator overloading concept. I hope you have understood this concept very well. If you have any doubts, you can just ask me in the WhatsApp or whatever. Okay. Thank you, one and all.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You can leave the session. Thank you. Let me take
Thank you,
that.
sir.
Thank you, sir.